Have you ever wondered why we often make excuses instead of actually changing our lives? Why is it so easy to say, "I'll do it tomorrow," instead of taking action today? Well, in this video, we're going to explore the real reasons behind this and how you can start breaking free from excuses once and for all. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about self-improvement, motivation, and practical tips to live a better life. We're just starting out, and it would mean a lot if you could help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support really motivates us to make more helpful content for you. In this video, we'll cover 10 simple reasons why people make excuses instead of changing their life. These are easy to understand points that can help you reflect and take action. 1. Fear of failure. One of the main reasons people make excuses instead of changing their lives is fear of failure. Deep down, they worry that if they try something new or take an important step, they might not succeed, and the thought of failing can feel overwhelming. This fear can make people hesitant to even begin because starting something unfamiliar brings uncertainty, and uncertainty can be scary. To protect themselves, many create excuses like saying, "I don't have enough time," "I'm not ready yet," or "it's too difficult for me," so they don't have to face the possibility of failure. Excuses give a temporary sense of safety because avoiding action seems easier than risking disappointment. However, this comfort is misleading. Every successful person has faced failure at some point, but the difference is that they use those failures as lessons and stepping stones to grow, rather than letting fear stop them. Fear of failure doesn't just hold people back from achieving their dreams. It can prevent them from discovering their true potential, learning new skills, and experiencing life in a more meaningful way. 2. Comfort zone. Another major reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is that they are stuck in their comfort zone. A comfort zone is a place where life feels familiar and safe. Even if things aren't perfect, maybe their job isn't fulfilling, or they feel stuck in their routines, it still feels easier to stay where they are than to take a risk and try something new. Stepping out of this comfort zone requires energy, courage, and facing uncertainty, and for many, that can feel intimidating. It's much simpler to come up with excuses like, "I'll start later," or "it's too hard right now," because staying put doesn't challenge them or make them feel vulnerable. But the problem is, true growth, success, and meaningful change almost never happen inside a comfort zone. Excuses are a temporary shield, but stepping out of your comfort zone is where transformation begins. 3. Laziness. Another common reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is simple: laziness. Sometimes, people just don't want to put in the effort required to make a real change. Change takes energy, consistency, and dedication, and it often feels easier to stay where they are rather than work hard for something better. Laziness can show up in small ways, like scrolling on the phone instead of exercising, or in bigger ways, like avoiding learning new skills or pursuing goals. When laziness takes over, the mind starts creating excuses to justify inaction, such as, "I'll do it tomorrow," or "it's too much work." Overcoming laziness requires awareness, motivation, and the willingness to take action even when it feels inconvenient or tiring. 4. Lack of motivation. One of the biggest reasons people make excuses instead of changing their lives is a simple lack of motivation. When there is no clear reason to take action or no strong goal to aim for, it becomes very easy to procrastinate. Motivation acts like fuel. It pushes us to move forward, even when things are difficult or uncomfortable. Without that fuel, even small tasks can feel overwhelming, and the mind starts creating excuses like, "I'll start tomorrow," or "it's not important right now." People often think they need to feel motivated before they begin, but the truth is, motivation usually comes after taking the first step, not before. When motivation is low, tasks seem harder than they really are, and excuses become a way to justify inaction. 5. Waiting for the right time. A major reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is the idea that they have to wait for the perfect time to start. The key is to understand that action doesn't need perfect conditions. It only needs a willingness to begin. Even small, imperfect steps taken today are far more powerful than waiting for everything to line up perfectly. Starting now allows you to learn, adapt, and improve along the way. Every day you delay is a day where your potential remains untapped and excuses grow stronger. Real change begins when you act despite the imperfections, knowing that progress is built on consistent steps, not ideal circumstances. 6. Low confidence. Another major reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is low confidence. When someone doesn't believe in their own abilities, they naturally doubt whether they can succeed, and this doubt often leads to inaction. Low confidence makes challenges feel bigger than they really are and risks seem more dangerous. So instead of trying, people convince themselves that it's better not to start at all. But the truth is, confidence is built by taking action, not waiting to feel ready. Every small step you take, every attempt you make, even if it's imperfect, helps you build belief in yourself. Acting despite low confidence is the first real step toward unlocking your potential and breaking free from excuses. 7. Blaming others. A very common reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is that it's easier to blame someone or something else than to take responsibility for their own actions. True change comes from acknowledging your own role in your life and accepting that you have the power to take action, no matter the circumstances. Excuses like blaming others may feel justified in the moment, but they also trap people in the same patterns, keeping them stuck in frustration and regret. Taking responsibility may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is the key to empowerment, freedom, and real progress. Because once you stop blaming and start acting, excuses lose their power and real change becomes possible. 8. Fear of judgment. One of the biggest reasons people make excuses instead of changing their lives is fear of judgment from others. Many of us worry about what people will think if we fail, make mistakes, or try something new. Because of this fear, people often come up with excuses to avoid taking action, convincing themselves that it's safer to stay in their current situation than risk embarrassment or criticism. Real change and success almost always require stepping into discomfort, taking risks, and doing things that others may not understand or approve of. Overcoming fear of judgment means prioritizing your own progress, building self-confidence, and understanding that the opinions of others do not define your worth or your potential. The more you take action despite fear, the less power excuses will have over your life, and the closer you get to becoming the person you want to be. 9. Not knowing how to start. Another big reason people make excuses instead of changing their lives is that they simply don't know where to begin. When the first step feels unclear or overwhelming, it's easy to get stuck in indecision. This is a very common trap because starting something new often involves uncertainty, unfamiliar tasks, and the fear of making mistakes. But the truth is, you don't need to have a perfect plan from the beginning. You just need to take the first small step. Even tiny actions, done consistently, can create momentum and make the next step clearer. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. Every big goal starts with a single step, and the sooner you take it, the sooner you'll see results. Not knowing how to start is just an obstacle, but excuses make it permanent. Action turns uncertainty into experience, and experience turns goals into reality. 10. Habit of excuses. One of the most powerful reasons people continue to make excuses is that, over time, it becomes a habit. When someone repeatedly avoids taking action by blaming circumstances, fear, or laziness, it starts to feel normal. The mind becomes trained to look for reasons not to act, and excuses almost become automatic. Every time you catch yourself making an excuse, you have a choice: continue the habit or take a small step toward your goal. Over time, replacing excuses with consistent action rewires your mind, builds confidence, and turns growth into a new habit. The key is to start small, act despite fear or doubt, and keep moving forward. Habits of excuses can be unlearned, but only if you commit to action, persistence, and believing that your goals are more important than your fears. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to help us grow.